Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Power of Knowing Forums. Join the C-Suite Talks, a LinkedIn Live event, episode 207 today. We are discussing on the topic of high performance teams, how communication creates 10x results. To join, to have this topic discussed, we have joined by Pallavi Sharma, a communication skill coach, career growth coach. And without further ado, let's welcome our esteemed speaker onto the podcast, along with our co-host, Mr. Vijay, joining us show today. Hi, hi Pallavi,
Hi Prem,
hi
hi,
Vijay.
hi everyone.
Hi, everybody. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to our show, Pallavi. It's been a long time that we had you on the show. You are part of our 114th episode, and you are back on our 10207th episode, back here again with us. Thank you for taking the time to come out. To start with, the first pointer that I want to understand or take your input is, from your experience, what is one game changing communication practice that transformed a struggling team into a high performance one?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Prem Kumar, and I'm honored to be here today. So, you started with a very stimulating question, thought provoking question, actually. In my experience of 3 years, 3 plus years, what I have noticed a game changing thing or strategy is to have a no blame culture in the companies because it looks very understated, but it matters a lot in terms of bringing results with a time deadline, and also bringing results happily with absolute indulgence. So that is a no blame policy for me that can drive great huge results and can transform the whole image of the company.
Vijay?
Yes, if I talk about some impact, see, we see in the market there are 2x impact, 3x impact. If I talk about 10x impact, you have seen teams performing at a 10x level. What's the secret? Is it mindset, strategy, or something unexpected?
Yeah, a very good question, Mr. Vijay. So actually, 10x impact, it's a very thought-provoking question and everybody craves for it, right?
Yes.
And I tell you that it is not only about working long hours or motivation or a specific or particular strategy. Rather, it is beyond that. The right secret to have a 10x impact is to have a perfect alignment of each and everybody with a common goal. And how can you bring such alignment? By having clarity. I mean, each one of the team members must know, must be aware very clearly of their why, because it makes a huge difference when you wake up with the clarity of the goal. Okay, today what I have to start with, this is my goal of today and I have to start with this. So clarity and alignment, that is the secret of bringing 10x impact in any company. It's like a cloudy day is there and suddenly a sunshine is there. Suddenly there is a clear sky. How does it feel? It feels like everything is going in our favor, right? So clarity is the sunshine, clarity and an alignment.
Yeah, nicely noted.
Thank you.
Give me a sec. I am having a small difficulty. Yeah, to coming to your point, what is the biggest communication mistake leaders make that costs productivity and them
Yeah.
cost them productivity and any
Yeah.
examples or thoughts that you can give?
Yeah, sure, Mr. Prem Kumar. So it's a very good question, actually. And this question is it's hidden behind the layers. We can't detect it on the surface. That's why it becomes scary sometimes. So
Hmm.
for me, the biggest pitfall is assuming silence to uh, understanding everything. I mean, don't assume silence as that everybody has understood it with clarity. If, for example, if I have explained a strategy to my team and if they are not asking question, so I can't assume that, okay, yes, everybody is very clear. Then you can ask open-ended question, and you can ask such question instead of asking any difficult question. You can ask like that. What are your inputs on this? What are your insights regarding the third pointer? So when you ask question with a specific point of view, and it is an open ended question, so it is much easier for each and every one to come out of their shell of hesitation, because five fingers are not same. There are different kinds of people, diverse mindsets, there is a cultural difference. But these type of questions, when you ask by highlighting the specific points, what are your inputs on this xyz strategy, I think it is like that, what is your view about it? So it gives them comfort to come out with their answers and come out of their shell. So I hope it is helpful.
Vijay?
How can leaders create a culture where open and honest communication thrives without fear or hesitation?
Yeah, sure. So, actually, uh, could you please repeat your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. If I talk about open and honest communication, how can leaders create a culture where open and honest communication thrives without any fear or hesitation?
Yeah, so basically, it's all about building trust, right? And for me, trust is not built just through authority or a designation or a job role. The biggest skill, the most advantageous skill that really helps in building trust is listening skills. By being a good listener, you can overcome all the communication barriers. And there are two types of listeners: one are passive listeners, and second is active listeners who reads between the lines. So leaders are expected to read between the lines. I mean, when you are in a leadership position, actually you don't need the actual words. You can read body language, you can read non-verbal gestures, you can read so many hidden things. You have so much experience. So try to read between the lines and try to be non-biased towards it. And that's how leadership evolves and blooms further. So whenever you shift to a culture of listening, you are reading between the lines, you are giving people more time to explore themselves, and you are more listening, you are more into listening mode. It suddenly shifts the culture from hesitation and fear to an open communication strategy. And actually, the best leaders don't just hear, rather, they understand the teams and the people around them.
Yeah.
Rightly said, because the listening is one skill that most of the people don't uh, put across or go ahead and learning that kind of a skill, because there are a lot of cues that you will get while listen to a complete statement or a sentence that they want to communicate. And if it is interrupted, most of the time, in my case, if you look at, if I am trying to tell you something, and I have a flow, and somebody comes and says, in the middle they're saying something, right? If I get interrupted, I forget that whole piece of full information that I want to give, and that gets cut off. So what I've learned of over the period is that you should leave the other person to complete the full sentence that what he wants to speak, and then summarize what he's spoken, and which that summarization, you will get confidence of the other person opposite you. Plus you will renegotiate or reinitiate that understanding what you have communicated is what I've understood as well, right? So that is
Yes.
a very important point, is what I understand. So can we share one uh, 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 pointer where a poor communication led to a failure of a project, and that was a lesson learned for the organization, or individual or anybody like that. So what is your take on that, Pallavi?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for your valuable add-on. And moving on to the your next question, yes, I once led a project when I was working in a company in sales in 2009, I think.
Okay.
So that in that project, I assumed everyone understood what urgent meant, right? It
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
I was supposed to talk about that the urgency factor,
Okay.
and I assumed that yes, everybody understood everything, but
Hmm.
it turned out that everybody had a different interpretation of the word urgent
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Okay.
deadlines, and because of that, and I assumed yes, so the first question which I stated just now, I assumed silence as the understanding part, and urgent was interpreted differently by different people, and because of it we missed the deadlines. Because of it, actually tensions arose, there was little stress in the environment. So words like as soon as possible or please do it soon, please do it quickly, it can mean different things to different people. So the need is what I learned from that lesson is to be very specific while asking question. For example, I need this by Wednesday, by this Wednesday by 3 p.m. So that one tweak can make a lot of difference. It can prevent a world of communication. So when the things are miscommunicated or even the things are misunderstood, it can create a havoc in just a second. So that's the thing that I learned from my personal experience.
In your view, uh,
Go ahead, Vijay.
how
Sorry.
do you see the team communication in the remote work environment and AI driven communication? How it is going to be evolved in the next 5 years?
Okay, so in the next 5 years, definitely remote work is going to, overpower, and people are comfortable in remote working culture. So we can enhance and we can take care of the communication part by being more open and by being more empathetic in communication strategies. Because empathetic, so let me clarify what is empathetic. Empathetic doesn't mean you have to be very soft spoken and polite. Yes, you have to be, but that doesn't suffice the definition of empathy. Empathy means understanding others point of view and taking into consideration each one of the point of view while maintaining a balance without missing the goal orientation or deadlines. So I think we need to grow, and people are evolving uh, to be more empathetic communicators, because when it comes about the remote team handling, your empathetic communication plays a pivotal role because it builds understanding. And we have to be, I mean, now in the next 5 to 10 years, communication skills is one that skill which is going to overpower, which is going to be a masterpiece if you have uh, as a leader or as a beginner or as a mid-level manager. So I think empathetic communication is definitely helpful in the time to come, because this is a AI driven era, and AI is gradually enveloping us at a very faster pace. So definitely the need of authentic and empathetic communication can never be understated. So I hope you agree, all agree with this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
definitely
both.
agree on the pointers. Vijay, your
Yes, I
point.
do agree. Yeah, thank
So
you.
I think with the technology, I think what is happening is we are growing or doing things at a very rapid pace. With what you said, remote work, and this one is going to become a norm where people will like to sit and work from anywhere as long as they meet the deadlines, and staying connected with a connected world. COVID has given us a great insight for us to say that you can work from anywhere. That's the first pointer that we understood in COVID, saying that technology or this one is not that great pointer, but if you are able to get into a space where you have connectivity, you can sit anywhere and work. So that gave us a lot of flexibility in terms of remote work. That's what we got in. Now looking at how should professionals at different career levels like fresher, mid level, and C suite adopt their communication to be very effective. What is your take on it? How do they make it more effective when they talk at various levels?
Yeah. Yeah, so for me, first of all, as a communication evolves with generations, communication evolves with time, it takes different shape. So, definitely, as a fresher, if you are starting your career, you must focus on clarity and confidence and work on your knowledge part. If your knowledge part is good, if it is enriching, so you will definitely gradually develop those skills, because knowledge and expression plays a major role in paving your career path, in bringing your growth towards you. So freshers must focus on clarity and confidence. If you are a mid level manager, you must master the art of influencing, right? I mean, everybody has a different goal, so goal gets shifted as you go higher in the hierarchy. As a mid-level manager or as a senior person in managerial position, you must master influence. And as a C level leader, their key skill, for me, as according to me, as per my experience, is to simplify complexity. How easily you can simplify the complex mechanism of anything. So communication is not, we can't weigh communication as a one size fit all, it evolves, it blooms with the responsibility, it takes different shape. So communication is just like water, I mean, it takes shape as per the container.
Yeah,
So if you are looking to grow, just ask yourself, am I really adapting my communication level to the level I aspire to? And that will make a difference in your career path.
I think you made a very important pointer there, Pallavi, is that communication should flow like water, as you rightly said. Now, while Vijay will agree on many this pointer, if I'm telling it right. So, in project management, we have something called as work breakdown structure. So, which I think what happens is the requirements are so neatly diluted or segregated to a stage where you cannot further segment, or that's the least you can split it to make it simple. So if you are saying go get a glass of water, you will tell go get a glass of water near the pantry, which is a Bisleri bottle, and there is a glass tumbler which is kept, which is not used. There is a separate section for used and unused glasses. So just giving an example, saying that that's how the breakdown structure happens. Now, if you bring that kind of a communication clarity there, I think most of the problems will be solved, is what I understood from how you want to look at C level people or the freshers having the communication done at all levels, right? So thank you for that. Over to you, Vijay.
Yeah. You mentioned about passive and active listening. As a leader, how do you ensure that your team feels heard? And what's one tip for active listening that most people ignore?
Okay. So as a leader, you have to be an active listener. And for validating your active listening skills to your teammates,
Yeah.
so first upon, in it, non-verbal gestures play a very major role, because when you listen to someone, first upon, your mindset, your internal focus must be on that person, on that specific goal. Secondly, please maintain a good eye contact, which is a friendly eye contact, and don't forget to decorate that eye contact with a smile in between, you know and yes, nodding also plays a very pivotal role. If you just, for example, I'm just saying, just see, and you can judge yourself. So okay, so this is the thing, for example, I'm listening to someone. Okay, So I think it makes a huge lot of difference. I mean, I am looking at the person, but it is appearing more like a statue appearance. So
Hmm.
we don't have to be, yeah, statue appearance. We have to look and reflect as human. We have to make them realize and I mean, they should immediately catch that human connection. So when we are listening to them, a good eye contact, a good natural smile, nodding in between, and your body language towards that person. If your body language is shifted like this and you're looking like this, actually you are not listening, you are just hearing his or her words. But if you're just focused like that, and your body language is also directional towards it, it makes a huge lot of difference. And yes, in between you can ask like that, yes, yes, I understand, yeah, please let me know more. I'm curious to know more. So when you add such type of sentences, these are very little things, but it can bring a major change in your influence as a leader or as a manager. What is your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So nowadays, as a leader, if we talk in front of the team, or yeah, sometimes they use and fidget with the mobile phones, and they do multitasking, right? So that's what I asked this question to ensure how we can uh, confirm that they are actively listening to us, right?
Yes.
So this nowadays it's happening. We cannot avoid this in the corporate culture. That's what
Now,
happened. Yeah.
not a very good point, Vijay. But what we've seen also is of late, in meetings or in discussions, people are told to keep their phones out, right? And
Mhm.
because there are hundreds of notifications which come up while you are discussing, when I lift a phone like that and I start looking at this phone, I'm not giving importance to you rather than giving importance to this phone. So keep that phone aside, not look at the messages that are there, and put them on silent predominantly is what we've seen. In our meetings, what we have clearly put a mandate is in the meeting it is going to be a meeting, not a distraction and a distraction to be done. So we've asked most of the people who join the online meetings and other stuff is to keep the mobiles in silent or at least away from them, so that if the notification comes they don't pick it up. So looking at that, as a leader, how do we ensure that the team has an empathetic often overlooked in communication, and how does it actually impact the team's performance? So why empathetic empathy is overlooked is what I'm trying to understand from you, Pallavi.
Okay. I mean, you are asking that why empathy is still overlooked in
Overlooked
communication.
in communication, and how does that actually impact the team's performance? That's the point that I want to
Yeah.
drive.
So actually, apparently, empathy is being overlooked nowadays for so many years because we are living in an age of distractions, and our mind is also multi-diversified.
Hmm.
So we can help ourselves, but still we can't help sometimes.
Yeah.
So the main thing is like unconsciously, unintentionally, we are very easily distracted towards distractions. We have become so vulnerable. Unconsciously, unintentionally, we are doing that. But only few people, like why it is so rare, because very few people are there who actually acknowledges this with a conscious effort first upon. Second, they consciously take action, they consciously take steps not to be distracted, not to show that you are distracted, because it's all about the show what you are showing. So yes, we can have different small measures for it, like putting your phone on silent mode and keeping it away from your reach, because whenever the phone actually buzzes, so sometimes as a human, we are human, right? We are the brainiest creatures, so unknowingly or knowingly we start looking at, then we shift. So it should not happen, it should be out of reach. and the phone should be in silent mode, and there should be, before starting this meeting or session, there must be a common request for everybody to please keep your phones on silent mode, and it has been happening. So for me, why it is happening? Because consciously we are not taking efforts to overcome it, and it can go away if you consciously make efforts and acknowledge and accept it. Yes, we are living in an age of distraction. Yes, earlier I did something, I was distracted, and somehow I could not cope with this meeting or session, and I was not a good listener like that. So when you consciously make efforts to overcome something, who can stop you actually? No one. So it's like a inundation of technology everywhere, and it is you who has to cross that flood. You must know how to swim, right? So it's all about your choices that you make. So conscious choices brings productive results.
Yeah, we must know how to swim.
Yes, definitely. I love analogies actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vijay.
In high performance teams, the decisions need to be fast yet well informed. How does communication play a role in balancing speed and accuracy?
Okay. So could you please reframe your question? I just lost it.
Yep. So if we want to take any decisions faster, right? Definitely the communications play a vital role
Mm-hmm.
while we are looking at speed and accuracy. So what is your view on that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, speed and accuracy has to be there, but I mean, the best decisions are a blend of speed and accuracy. Yes, I must say. So, how can you enhance it? Uh, first is conscious choice, conscious decision making choice. You acknowledge, yes, I have to do this. I have to do this work, or I have to complete this by today evening. So when you consciously do it, you can enhance your communication skills. You can enhance the impact. I hope I summarized it.
Yes. Conscious decision making
Yes.
play a yeah, it has to be speed and accuracy. There is a balance in
Yeah,
between.
there should be a balance of speed and accuracy, and then only the productive execution happens. So there
Yes.
must be a balance. And yes, communication can play a very major role in mobilizing all these things together.
Now,
Yes.
taking that point, what is the approach to navigate difficult conversations without losing trust? Because most of the time we lose people's trust when we uh, do a difficult conversation,
Definitely.
and without losing trust and morale in the team. So, I'll rephrase, what is the approach to navigate difficult conversations without losing trust and morale in the team?
Yeah, sure. So basically, according to me, the best approach, if you say, is to stay not just emotional, but to stay factual and logical.
Okay.
So, I mean, a great leader always starts a tough conversation with the idea in mind that focus on resolutions.
Hmm.
Let's talk about solutions. So even the tough conversations can be channelized very smoothly by starting proactively and focusing your attention towards finding solutions, that too in a collaborative manner, and not just blame. So as soon as you focus, and as soon as it's and just if you just focus, it won't do the thing. You have
Hmm.
to express, say the statement. Let's focus on solutions today. We are here to talk about some resolutions, and we have a great insightful team with us, and definitely we will sail together successfully like these. So when you say these phrases or statements in your own way, by focusing, by putting an active emphasis on solutions, you instantly shift the tone from confrontation to collaboration, right? So whenever you face a tough conversation, lead with that solution oriented phrase, and you can notice the difference in impact.
No, I'll take this pointer where you said, Pallavi, is that I want to give this example. There was one difficult conversation between two team members,
Mhm.
and we had an escalation. So that in the middle of the escalation, the team was talking for almost an hour, saying that you had to take this point, I have to take this point. We miss you. That was your responsibility. I had to take that point. Why did you miss it? I was kind of listening to both arguments, and after a point of time, I understood that this is not going anywhere, right? So
Okay.
then what I told them is, as you rightly said now, is let's do postmortem after we solve the issue here. Okay, the client is suffering for almost an hour now. We are not able to get into a decision. Now, if you feel point one has to be done by you, point two has to be done by the second person, get it done, solve the problem. I will come back, we'll get into a call after the postmortem. And I dropped the call, actually speaking. I dropped the call and said, get into work and let's come back. Maybe after half an hour, I get a call saying that the problem is solved. This
Okay.
I should have done 1 hour back when I started saying, happened is happened, whatever is done is fine. Let's get into the point. Let's discuss what is the problem. This is what is the problem. This is where we need to solve this problem. And that could have ended. But what I gave them an option was to talk and then we'll resolve. So it was not going the right way. So then we said, let's cut it here. Postmortem can be done later, and in within half an hour the work was done, where I wasted 1 hour in making them understand. So this is one point that I would like to, it was relating to what you are talking about, so I brought up this point. Over to you, Vijay.
Yeah, it's a great insight actually. Give, sometimes it is essential to give them the space also to
Yeah,
think and comprehend the situation in a different perspective. Yeah,
yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah. What is one communication skill that the professionals actually underestimate but can be a total game changer?
Yeah. So the very thoughtful question. So one skill for me is to, whether you are a senior leader or a manager, or you are in a team, whatever, asking the right questions, right? And how can you ask right question? By being a good listener. So listening is skill, and asking the right question. So asking the right question is a consequential skill of being a good listener first. So first develop your good listening skills, practice it, and then only you can have those insightful questions which is going to help you to crack the goal or help everybody. So asking the right questions actually is very much hoodwinked behind the curtain, but actually it plays a very active role in getting results, in getting clarity, in understanding the execution part, in understanding or simplifying the strategy. As a leader, you can ensure that you are able to bring clarity and simplification to the complex mechanism. As a teammate or whatever role you are in, you can ensure whether you have understood the strategy or not. So I think one should have that skill to ask right question, even if you are not able as many times as you, but you must ask the right questions, and you must never assume that yes, it is complete, and yeah, it is done. They have already explained so many times. So, what is your view on it, both of you?
No, I think what you said is perfectly right, because when you listen, and that's what we've been discussing from a long point from the start of the session, is one is listen, second is summarize before what you understood or what. So that I'll take that point. Vijay, what is your take on it, Vijay?
Yes, asking a right question matters, right?
Yeah.
Without that, even in the meeting with the team, as a leader, we don't get the right clarification or what needs to be done. If you talk about solution-driven approach, if you want to follow this, definitely this asking a right question matters. I
Yeah.
do agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the resonance.
So from this point of right questions to be asked, what could be or what's one communication habit that differentiates a good leader from a great one from a CEO's lens?
Okay. Yeah. So I think first is the storytelling skills. I mean,
Okay.
that's a very powerful communication strategy. The role of storytelling cannot be underestimated in a strong leadership communication. And because facts tell and stories sell, as we say.
Yeah.
So, for example, a CEO once shared a childhood lesson that shaped his leadership skill and how did it help him. So that story connected very well with employees. Uh, I mean, more than any strategy or any planning that could do the change. And it actually created a different emotional kind of environment which actually not only pushed them intentionally to do good but also connected them to a different level. So story telling is a great skill. And also another one is like before every important conversation, please ask yourself that what is that one key lesson or takeaway I want them to remember after this meeting or after this
Mm.
session. Okay, so this keeps the communication sharp and purposeful and more focused. So ask yourself, make notes. It is very essential to make notes ahead of any conversation. It helps you in so many ways, keeps
I
you
think
fast, right?
no,
Like that.
not only before you get into a discussion on what is that we are trying to discuss or what are the pointers that we want to address, that kind of a note will definitely help. But a note after the session also could be a summarizing part, which can say what could be the takeaways from this
Yeah,
episode, or what
definitely.
could be the outcomes that we've discussed, and who's looking at what, and what would be our agenda for next meeting as well. So that way taking notes is very important, because one of my boss used to tell was that if you are entering a meeting without a book and a pen, then don't attend.
Right. Yeah,
So
very
one
true.
of my boss who used to be very particular, saying that whoever is joining the meeting should have a book and a pen to take down notes. Otherwise, please don't come and sit in the meeting.
Yeah, that's very powerful actually because it shows that you are, I mean, it shows your intention, it shows your integrity, your involvement, in your
Yeah.
indulgence before you even enter the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vijay?
Yeah, I do second this because I also came across this advice to have a diary and pen. And now I do instruct my team. Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, Vijay.
If I talk about strategy and execution, how can leaders ensure that their vision and strategy don't just stay on paper but actually translate into action through effective communication?
Yeah, sure. So basically, any strategy, any idea, any great strategy uh, that lacks meaning if the execution part is missing. So the best leaders, they actually connect every task to a bigger vision, right?
Mm.
Because when people see their work's impact, their execution, their results, the results they could bring after the execution part, so they perform with greater commitment. So I mean, first you have to show your indulgence also with the execution part. Let them see the result, the impact that you could bring about by focusing more on the execution part. And you can lead by example. I mean, you can leave a very productive legacy for everybody to follow. So I'm curious to know your intake also, because you both are so seasoned and experienced in your particular arena. What is your take on this in your experiences?
No, most of the strategies are what I don't want to say that is any particular organization or anything. What I've seen is strategy gets discussed very often, but it does not translate into action. That's what Vijay is trying to say. But
Mhm.
what happens is there are a lot of gaps that while we discuss strategy, we don't underline them, saying that if there's a blocker here, this is where you will take a deviation to the strategy, and this is where the strategy has to be relooked. So if there is a blocker, what we normally see is that strategy gets stuck there, and after that the strategy has to be rewritten completely in a different format, or it is neglected. So that is where what Vijay was trying to look at, or my understanding is that vision and strategy should go aligned
So,
that way
and that alignment can be reflected by constantly modifying your communication strategies
yes, yes.
accordingly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You are hitting a roadblock, then I think you will have to review the strategy, which is, I think, when will you hit a roadblock? My understanding is saying when your vision is clear and you have a roadblock, suddenly you will have to relook at why this roadblock came in, because we had strategized this before, we had this underlined. So that's where I think there's a pointer that you are trying to bring in. Am I
Yeah.
right in saying that?
Understanding the why behind everything is essential
Yeah.
to, I mean, for anything. That is a main core foundation. Yeah.
No, you're talking about leaders who inspire on storytelling, right? So, can you share a personal example where storytelling helped drive a mission or a change? Because we just spoke about storytelling, right? So how do we look at storytelling helping or driving a mission to change?
Yeah, definitely. Storytelling actually, it connects you to a human level. It connects you through emotions. It instantly connects you without doing anything. I mean, those stories should be very relevant, contextual, and much better if it is real stories, right? So I tell you a story of a girl actually that was a student of mine. So that girl, a very bright girl, belonged to a very accomplished family and a very bright student, but she was an introvert person, very introvert. And she was always hesitant to talk to strangers. And her parents were well accomplished, but her father spotted one day that this won't go in the long run. We have to do something like that, because how could she survive in the world when she starts working? So he said, we are going to a showroom next week to purchase a car, and you have to talk to the customer executive. You have to handle the sales communication. And she started trembling. She started shuddering. She was in 11th at that time. But somehow her father assured her, okay, I will take care. He trained her. And I mean, 100 to 100 times the training was done. And she was quite confident in it. They went to the showroom. She talked to the salespeople. She handled everything very well. Just then, one of them immediately asked any question that she was not aware of, that how to respond. And it's okay, you are not supposed to know everything, but she could not handle because that was her first public experience in a way. So she's literally started crying at that time. Her father was looking from a far distance. That okay, then he came closer and he said, I wanted you to realize this moment. And this is the point where you have overcome your fears and now you won't look back. Until then, she worked very hard. She transformed herself And no doubt I mentored her, and she was completely a transformed person after several years. And that girl was nobody but me, right? So it was a
This
real
was a story
experience.
about yourself. It's a story about yourself, right? So, see,
About my
I was about to tell you that because Vijay, as I told you, start of the session, I was a camera shy person, and Vijay brought me on to the camera. Today we are at the 207th episode. So it is an example for us to look at, saying that we've never faced our fears, and that fears facing thing has brought us to the 207th episode today. That all credit
yes.
goes to Vijay to bring up me onto the podcast platform, and I'm happy to do this podcast more and more. And the confidence level is, I cannot explain the number, the confidence level I have today when I face the camera. That's the power of getting yourself from your fears.
Yeah,
Thank you for
so
that.
you
Over to you, Vijay.
inspire millions actually. Definitely. So, I mean, I never look back, and it did not happen once or twice. It happened with me so many times. So that's the power. I mean, I share this. I would love to share this with everybody, because if I can, you also can.
Yeah,
Storytelling works wonders as a leader. You inspire people, right? You set an example by quoting your real anecdote, and that's where the power comes from.
yeah, Vijay.
Do you have any personal rituals that help you become more effective communicate?
Yeah, definitely. Like I stated earlier in one of the question, first thing is I always think and comprehend deeply about what is that one key takeaway I'm going to give, or I want everybody to get reminded about. Second thing is we. This is my personal choice. I mean, this is the thing that I think it's very significant in your personal career growth, is the art of summarization.
Hmm.
You have to master the art of summarization. Like whether you are a fresher or you are a businessman, an entrepreneur pitching an idea or about yourself, or explaining a project, or detailing information to your teammates, uh, concisely, it's a career superpower. So if you can summarize effectively, you can lead effectively, because you are mastering time. By mastering summarization, you are mastering time, and you are mastering clarity. So that's where we need to work upon. I mean, this is a great career superpower for me, as you asked. So summarization, yes, it really works well.
Yeah, that is the one I'm missing. I'll start that.
In a high pressure crisis, how do you ensure clarity, trust, and action go through that communication?
Okay, so high pressure situations often demand the frequency, right? The
Yeah.
repetition patterns. Frequency patterns must be more productive and clear. So convey that thing again and again through email, and take frequent meetings, sessions, and also direct conversation, so they stick to the goals. Because in high pressure you have to constantly remind them, so remind them in a way through different modes. You can try, you can like put a message on WhatsApp, organize meetings, more formal if we talk about organized meeting sessions very frequently, and put frequent messages in the WhatsApp groups, and also if possible talk to them individually. So it really helps each one of them to handle high pressure situations. And also, yes, you have to have patience. That's a very basic thing. You have to have patience. You have to be calm and composed. And please set the goal in front of you. Why we are doing? We are not doing to lose the situation. We are doing to achieve a goal. So that helps us to actually de-stress ourselves. This is one thing. Second, in high pressure situation, you can Like in between you can take a short break, or you can do some motivation kind of thing by asking them to be a part of some meditation camp or like that. So it also works wonders, because when you it is a community effort, so everybody wants to be involved in that.
You mentioned about non-verbal communication.
Yeah.
Beyond words, how much do body language and tone impact how teams receives and act on communication?
Definitely, a role of non-verbal communication in leadership or anywhere is, I mean, it's very clear and apparent. For example, as a leader, if you say, I'm open to feedback with crossed arms, so it actually doesn't convey your intention very impactfully. It somewhere breaks your actions, and it somewhere it puts a barrier between your words and deeds. So basically, in enhancing your communication, your body language, you must have a first upon a open body language. So what is open body language? When you are explaining, your hands gestures must be used proactively. It must not be too much. It must not be too little. It must be, everything is a game of moderation. Second thing, maintain a good eye contact with everybody. You know, eye contact builds trust. So whenever anybody is sharing insight or anything about any strategy or whatever, just look at him or look at her. Okay, this makes them feel acknowledged and heard and understood. And also, whenever you are talking to someone, so if it is a offline meeting, so it's much better to, I mean, shift your direction towards that person, shift your body direction. Because if I am looking like this, okay, okay, yes, yes, I understand, it doesn't work. It immediately puts a barrier that, yes, it's just a formality she is trying to complete. So, open body language, good eye contact, a smile, and yes, and good listening skills. It plays a very huge role, impactful role in conveying your intention and message in the right manner, in the right proportion.
Yeah, rightly said. What is one unconventional or out of the box communication practice you've seen from an industry disruptor that really worked?
Could you please repeat?
Yeah. What is the one unconventional
Okay.
communication practice you have seen from an industry disruptor that really worked?
Okay, so one of the companies I mean, I trained them. So they used to send very long emails, and I mean, it was, the words were unneeded. It was the grammatical structure was not correct. Vocabulary, they were short of vocabulary. So that long emails were replaced with not short but to the point emails. And also they started video updates also, right, in the WhatsApp group and the social media, because now it's a social media. So if you are not active on social media as a fresher or whosoever it is, you are not visible to people. So that was inculcated in their regular practice, and it really worked well. It was around 4 to 5 years ago. And it enhanced their engagement, it enhanced their sales, overall sales. So that was the thing that they actually inculcated in their usual patterns. And this was the thing that I saw actually, that the conventional pattern of sending emails, it was replaced with to the point relevant emails. Enhance your face to face conversation with client interaction. I mean, make it more interpersonal instead of just formal or that sort of thing. Make it more interpersonal, make it more personal, and don't underestimate the power of social media. So that brought a huge change in that company scenario, overall scenario.
Yeah.
With that, I think we are coming to the last pointer before I summarize what is there. Is there one communication practice that every professional, whether fresher or a CEO, should master? And any suggestions or what it would be?
Sure.
Maybe.
So I would repeat what I stated earlier, that one is listening skills. Please be a good listener
Okay.
for being a leader. Second is please master the art of summarization. It
Hmm.
plays a very productive role, very important role in paving your career path, in creating your charisma, and in enhancing your career growth. You know, I mean, the more clarity you have, the more concise you are in your communication skills, much better it looks. And it creates value for you as well as around you.
No, the wonderful pointers Pallavi. So, with this, we are at the fag end of the hour session, and we are also top of the hour. We have few uh, uh, messages which are there. I am trying to bring it here. So, first message comes from Darshini, who's one of our speaker as well. So, she's greeted all of us in the start of the session, and then we have Priyanka said, where very well said, Pallavi. It's about own conscious and what you make. That's one pointers. Then we have Pooja, who's joined us, and she says greetings to everyone. Again, Priyanka continues with the second question, is that a thoughtful conversation leading to a solution driven approach is the key, which I think we spoke about solution based stuff. That's where this pointer has come up, I think. And next is what, again, Ram Prasad Lal is a seasoned uh, professional who is also a podcast speaker of ours, and he is the first person who has gone into the Antarctic expedition, India's Antarctic expedition. So he has this one. I resonate with the idea of carrying a notebook and a pen during meeting. I use single diary for 4 years as finance officer at IMD. I carried it in decisions in all meeting. Complete financial data required for planning. So this is what Mr. Ram Lal has said. And we have Dr. Varaprasad says, Pallavi, that's a good transformation. That's power of mentorship. So that's the another point. Again, we have Priyanka coming up saying that uh, such inspiration story. I do the same during sessions. Totally agree with the storytelling creates a difference. Then we have Pooja again coming in with I know the girl, such an inspiration. Okay. So these are the questions that I have got, and we have one question saying, greeting, could you please share the details about the interview process and what are expected from expecting candidates? I think that's more to do with the structure of the interview that you take, and that's not what we are discussing here as a communication skill. I think from a standpoint is that you uh, have to look at what is that you are looking at and what is the interviewer asking. You should be clear and communicating. Pallavi, any pointers that you want to add here, Pallavi?
Yeah, sure. So, since this question is here, so basically, who has asked this question? Pooja. Yes.
Pooja,
So,
yeah.
Pooja, very good question. It's a little elaborative question actually, but still, I will try my best to summarize it. So, first upon interview process runs with a definite specific mindset. So, you have to understand first what is interview mindset, and you can easily understand the interview question afterwards. And what you are expecting from candidates, basically in an interview they are expecting that candidates to have the skills aligned with the job role. They are looking for the right mindsets, that how is your adaptability quotient, how is your resilience quotient, and how is your way of reacting or responding to situation. So they are actually trying to dig the deeper layers of emotions in a candidate, and that's why the questions are designed in such a way And as they keep asking till they actually dig out the real answers that they are looking for. So that's about the interview process. So I hope it is helpful. And definitely, yes, I have a proper interview module for freshers as well as professionals. So both the questions are different. Freshers are different, and professionals questionnaire is absolutely it's very different.
I brought up Pallavi's skill LinkedIn profile link here. I'll drop the same link onto the chat as well. So have a connect or talk to Pallavi one on one. That would help. Uh, I'll just drop this onto the chat window so that everybody gets to have this link. So yeah, I have dropped it here, and you can look at one last question that I have is from our Ram. I think this is Pooja's. I'm bringing up Doctor say Ram Prasad Lal says storytelling does not work in decision making environment. So it works in motivational talk and informal meetings. So your take on that, Pallavi?
Yeah, sure. I completely agree with it. That
Mhm.
yes, storytelling actually it's a very good skill for building trust and bringing collaboration and bringing active indulgence of each of your teammates. But as when it comes about decision making, there are so many factors that play a pivotal role. You have to be very factual and logical there, and you can't be emotional there. I completely agree. And that's what the magic of communication. You modify your communication strategies as per the goal you have in front of you. So I agree with it, Mr. Ramlal.
Thank you for that, Pallavi. So, with this, we would conclude our session for today. I would like to summarize what we discussed and then we conclude the session. We had the bringing up what I have taken some of the notes here with our pointers that we discussed. We spoke about communication in high performance teams, 10x impact and what drives it, communication pitfalls that leaders must avoid, human centric leadership and trust building, lessons learned from failure, a personal story, future communication in teams, some freshers to C-suite adopting communication styles, the power of active listening in leadership, which we emphasize saying that it has to be a skill that you have to master. I think that's one pointer that we can take away from this session. And role of empathy while you are dealing with high performance teams, conflict resolution, handling difficult conversations. Then we spoke about decision making and communication, a fine balance. How do we look at? And we look at communication perspective from a CEO's perspective. Then we spoke about gap between strategy and execution. So we spoke about leadership and communication, some personal rituals of better communication, handling crisis with clear communication, and also the important point we spoke about non-verbal communication in leadership, which plays a very important role. And last but not the least, one advice for professionals at any level is what we spoke about on this session. And Pallavi, it's been a great journey that we had so far. It's been an hour, and we are overshooten by 4 minutes with the questions and other pointers that we did today. Any last minute pointers that you want to say before we conclude, Pallavi?
Uh, yeah, I just need to remind everybody that you need to modify your communication patterns. You can't take a very what should I say, a stereotype framework for being successful in career path. You need to modify, and for it for modification of your communication skills, you have to be very adaptive first. Losing your goal without losing your values and beliefs, you must have that adaptability quotient in you, and that will help you always.
Thank you, Pallavi. It was a great insight there, and thank you for sharing your inputs. Thank you, Vijay. With this, we would like to conclude our session for today, and our session for next is on the 208 episode, AI agents and small business scalability, unlocking limitless growth, on 11th of February at 6:30 p.m. We have streamed this podcast live to LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Hope you found this discussion valuable, and thanks for joining us on LinkedIn Live today. Looking forward to see you again soon. Good day and bye for now.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
having me here as a speaker. I'm honored to be here. It was a great session. I mean, I got to know so many insights from both of you, very seasoned and experienced professionals. So, thank you so much for these valuable add ons.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Pallavi.
Pallavi. Thank you,
Thank
Prem.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Good day. Thank you, everyone.